Echoes of liberation, the visionaries who dared to dream. Great leaders rise from the ashes of oppression. They ignite the flames of hope in the hearts of the downtrodden. Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X were such leaders. They dared to dream of a free Africa, an Africa unshackled from the chains of colonialism. Their teachings resonate even today, reminding us of the fight for true liberation. These visionaries understood the deep wounds inflicted by European powers. They saw how colonialism had stripped Africa of its wealth and dignity, but they also saw the strength and resilience of the African people. They called for unity, self-reliance, and a return to our roots. Garvey and Malcolm X urged Africans to reclaim their history, their culture, their very identity. They knew that true liberation meant breaking free from mental slavery as well. Their message was clear: Africa must chart its own destiny. This message remains as urgent today as it was decades ago. We must never forget the lessons of these great leaders. Their words are our weapons in the ongoing struggle for a truly free and prosperous Africa. The chains of exploitation, Africa's economic shackles. Colonialism was a system of brutal exploitation. European powers descended upon Africa like vultures, their eyes fixed on the continent's vast riches. They plundered our land, our resources, our very labor. They saw Africa as a source of cheap raw materials and a captive market for their manufactured goods. The transatlantic slave trade was perhaps the most horrific example of this exploitation. Millions of Africans were torn from their homes and shipped across the ocean in chains. They were treated as mere commodities, their lives and labor fueling the engines of European empires. Even after the formal end of colonialism, the economic chains remained. African nations were left with weak economies dependent on the whims of their former colonizers. This legacy of exploitation continues to this day. We see it in the unfair trade deals that keep African nations trapped in poverty. We see it in the multinational corporations that extract our resources for a pittance. We see it in the crushing debt burden that stifles our development. The theft of identity, social, and cultural assault. The assault on Africa was not just economic, it was also social and cultural. European colonizers sought to erase our history, our traditions, our very identity. They told us that our cultures were primitive, our languages backward, our religions pagan. In their place, they imposed their own systems of belief and governance. Christianity was used as a tool of control, its message twisted to justify colonialism. Western education systems were designed to create a class of Africans who were alienated from their own people and beholden to their colonial masters. This cultural imperialism has had a devastating impact on Africa. It has led to a loss of self-belief, a sense of inferiority, and a disconnect from our own heritage. Many Africans have internalized the racist stereotypes imposed upon them by their colonizers. The struggle for liberation is therefore not just about political and economic independence. It is also about reclaiming our minds, our souls, our very being. It is about decolonizing our thoughts and embracing our African identity in all its richness and complexity.